Hey guys, very quick, very short lesson, probably 5 minutes or under. I heard some of you clapping, even though it's on the video. I did hear it all the way through whenever you started playing it. But a quick lesson on James Ussher, okay? James Ussher was an Archbishop of the Church of England who did an extensive study on the length of the world between 1650 and 1654. Basically devoted his whole life for several years, 4 or 5 years, to determine how old the earth was. Then he wrote his findings in what he called the Annals of the World. This was originally done in Latin and was translated and published into English in 1658. The excerpt you should have read was just the introduction, the Epistle of the Reader. Gives us some insight into what he found, okay? He started with historical writings to include the Bible. Started with the Bible. Then he looked at things done by Theophilus, the Bishop of Antioch, and he found that Theophilus was the first Christian writer known to Ussher to try to calculate the age of the world with the Bible. So he relied heavily on his information, was reading it. And at one point, Theophilus says, all times and years are made known to them who are willing to obey the truth. And so he dived into his information and was looking through it. But then he also did something that would be very challenging to do and try to calculate historical, astronomical calculations and calendars all into one standard. If you're not sure what I mean, let me just tell you this. Especially throughout history and historical, ancient history documents, people had different calendars. They had different calendars for different groups of people. Even in our own times, we have, the Chinese calendar, we have the American calendar, the Julian calendar. And so he tried to take all these throughout time and combine them into one standard so then he could calculate how old the world was. He used time from the Hebrews, Egyptians, and Persians. He converted to the Julian calendar and time frames. And eventually, what he discovered, or what he believed, the earth was 4,003 years, 70 days, and 6 hours, and that Christ was old, and that Christ was born in 4 BC and not 1 AD. I laugh a little bit because that's very specific. He went down, to the hours, and that's a little bit crazy to me. But what it does show is that he did extensive research and tried to determine exactly through all kinds of historical documents, the Bible, different calendars of multiple ancient people groupings and things, and came up with, basically the earth was about 4,000 years old. So that quick little lesson on James Ussher, and hopefully you read the material, and then we can talk about it more later. Have a good day.